What's up? It's Tom here with a Twins system recap covering the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday games. A lot going on. You know, we had this big trade, the A.J. Minter trade, also Cody Clemens walk-off. So I had a live stream, and then right after that ended, A.J. Minter, the news came out. So running a bit behind here. But Big Moon News, here are the results and records. But big news on prospect side, in addition to that trade, a couple guys getting traded away. Vahn Lackey and Carson Tinney and some of their other draft mates who are hitters were assigned to Fort Myers and made their debut. So Vahn Lackey, we get to see him live and in action. It's pretty exciting. We'll talk about his debut in just a few moments here. Some other transactions, Jack Anderson was recalled by the Twins. Emmanuel Rodriguez started a rehab assignment with Fort Myers and has already moved up to Cedar Rapids. Probably in part because all those draftees joined the Mighty Mussels. It's been a rough go early on here for Emmanuel Rodriguez, but he's working off a lot of rust. So we'll see how long. I think he's going to be rehabbing for a while. Rudy Gomez was promoted to St. Paul, a right-handed reliever, former indie ball signing, so a guy who's never really had a lot of prospect shine, but he's pretty nasty. He's definitely somebody to keep an eye out for. Hopefully the Twins can add another piece, at least to this bullpen or pitching staff picture, to where we're not thinking of worst case scenarios, but he's just kind of an interesting guy to keep an eye out for. And then, with the draftees coming into Fort Myers, some guys are moving up to Cedar Rapids. Reed Mooring, Byron Churio, and Jason Bass, a guy who I'm kind of high on. He's really caught my attention. We're all promoted to Cedar Rapids. Unfortunately, Kalai Rosario was sent back to Wichita. It's just a crowded outfield in St. Paul. And then with new guys entering the system, there's going to be these guys getting released, and Rain Doncone and Henry Kuziak have been released. So best of luck to those guys. With it being the last day of the month here, I am going to be updating my prospect list soon. That will be including the draftees. That will be minusing out these guys, anybody else who gets traded, in addition to Amick and Agbayani. So a lot going on with that one. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be sometime shortly after the trade deadline. All right, let's get into this thing. 3 stars of Tuesday. Third star, Walker Jenkins. Walker Jenkins, everybody wants to see Walker Jenkins on the Twins. He did a nice job on Tuesday with the Saints, 2 for 3 with a double and 2 walks, a stolen base as well, getting it done. Second star, Quentin Young. Guy who's been really up and down, but he has a lot of big games. 3 for 4 with a triple, a homer, 2 runs, and 2 RBI for him. Merritt Jones, number 1. There's some better pitching performances early in the week here. It's really encouraging. It's been really discouraging for me all year of how few really good pitching performances there have been, even on a game-by-game basis. But Merritt Jones, 5 innings of 3-hit ball, 1 unearned run, no walks, 7 strikeouts for Fort Myers. Topped out at 95.2 miles per hour. Got 16 swinging strikes, 6 on his slider and 5 on his changeup. So a nice outing there. And have to wonder when he might be moving on up to Cedar Rapids. Although it's a bit of a different conversation with the hitters and the pitchers, because I would imagine almost all of the pitchers drafted will not make their pro debut until next year. So there's not as much of a clog there. Anyway, Tuesday, honorable mentions Jake Rucker, Ross Dunn, Danny De Andrade, Mike McKenna, and J.P. Smith II, who we'll talk about again in just a moment. Kalen Culpepper, I'm not going to keep including these guys every day, but Kalen Culpepper, we're keeping an eye on him, getting back up to speed. Did just want to call it. He played shortstop on Tuesday. Did go 0 for 5 with a strikeout, however. Emmanuel Rodriguez playing center field. That's a nice sign, but he went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. So, again, he's off to a slow start. Not going to include those guys in every game, but that was just kind of a... keep in mind those guys are out there working their way back. Wednesday, again, good pitching performances. Colton Smith, who hasn't been on the Colonels for too long, 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts for him. Good performance. J.P. Smith II, again, had that homer for an honorable mention on Tuesday, went 2 for 4 with 2 homers on Wednesday, so he's heating up. And then the first star, Hendry Mendez, who I think he's either has the most or tied for the most first stars of anybody. He's had some great games. 2 for 4 with a homer, a run, and 2 RBIs. He kind of gets the leg up on J.P. Smith because he had a go-ahead homer in the top of the 9th inning in a tie ball game. So that was a huge hit for them. And 48 games with the Saints, Hendry Mendez is hitting .303 with a .396 OBP and a .438 slugging. That's an .834 OPS. Still only 22 years old. I imagine he, and you could say this about Jenkins too, I'd imagine he'd be in the big leagues if he was a right-handed hitter. The Twins need help against left-handed pitching. It's just kind of unfortunate. All these guys, so many of them, not all of them, but so many guys are left-handed hitters in that picture. Wednesday, honorable mentions, Mitch Mueller, Jay Thomason, Demiri Pena, Andy Lugo, Eduardo Tait, and there's better games from both Culpepper and Emmanuel Rodriguez on Wednesday, if you're interested in seeing those. 3 stars of Thursday. More pitching here we'll get to. Aaron Sabato with a 2-hit game, a two extra base hit game, a double and a home run. He continues to be productive for the Saints. I believe with Billy Amick exiting, he takes over as the system leader in home runs as well. Second star, Ryan Gallagher, has been pitching great of late. 5 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. He's like the only guy really in the high minors who you can look at as like a traditional starting pitcher. Kind of like I was alluding to with Rudy Gomez. We don't want to get into these disaster, nightmare scenarios where you're grabbing, maybe your 4th option because of a bunch of injuries happen. But Ryan Gallagher is stretched out in St. Paul, consistently throwing 5 innings or more. There are not that many guys in the system doing that, and it's really encouraging to see him pitch better of late because his overall stats with St. Paul are not very good, but he's gotten it rolling. His changeup has been particularly effective since the All-Star break. First star, though, Adrian Bajorquez. So good to see this guy pitch well. 4 no-hit innings with 1 walk and 6 strikeouts for the Colonels. Big arm, high upside guy, but it's just been really tough for him to stay on the mound. And he's been inconsistent when he's been on the mound, but since returning to Cedar Rapids in late June, he's got a 4.02 ERA and 17 strikeouts and 15 2/3 innings. So kind of building momentum. This definitely the kind of high point of his season so far. Just a pristine outing almost. Struggling to throw strikes, but limiting walks. He's got to do that. That's going to be a challenge, but it's great to see in this outing. Still a super high upside arm, Adrian Bajorquez. So somebody to keep an eye out for. Honorable mentions for Thursday, Chris Valamont, Marek Houston, Jacob McCombs, Eric Hammond, and then I usually go with 5. I know I usually go with 5, but how can you break this tie between these two guys? Hilarious that both of them in their pro debut, Vahn Lackey and Carson Tinney, post nearly the identical line. 0 for 1 with 2 walks and a hit by pitch. So they both reach base 3 times, unconventionally, no hits. They both score a run. Vahn Lackey swiped a base too. But the extra funny thing is not just that they had such similar lines. These are super unusual lines, too. It's not like, I don't know, they were 1 for 3 with a walk or something. Over 1, 2 walks, and a hit by pitch, both. Again, Lackey with the stolen base. I didn't have a heart to take either one of them out of the honorable mentions. So we're just going to give an extra one for Thursday. Lackey caught, Tinney DH'd. Lackey did have a throwing error on a back pick and a pass ball, so, not a perfect debut, but, let's get those first ones out of the way and see how the rest of however long he's in Fort Myers goes. I don't think he'll be in Fort Myers for too much longer, so we'll see. Should be joining Cedar Rapids if all goes well before too much longer, but just really, really kind of solidified it for me to see him out there playing in a Mighty Mussels jersey, after, really only seeing all of his college highlights and knowing a bunch about him and having followed him for a while, really put it into concrete terms, and it was fun. A busy day. You got Cody Clemens' crazy walk-off, the trade, and Vahn Lackey debuting. It's just been very busy of late. A lot of fun stuff to talk about. The Star scoreboard updated. Here are the leaders. Marek Houston atop the list. Billy Amick joins Ryan Sprock in the RIP club. Amick, talked about that trade. It's really easy to focus on the negatives with Billy Amick, but he's been really productive and has had some massive games. But those concerns are real. I think it was a fun guy for the Mets to target in a trade like that. Same with Agbayani. There's at least a standout tool there. So he was, second behind Marek Houston on the Star scoreboard which obviously this, doesn't align to prospect status. We're more kind of just trying to contextualize performance in a different way than just looking at guys' overall numbers. Essentially, is kind of my idea with this here. So take that for what it's worth. But there is the top 10 on the year. Today, the last day of July, I'm recording this like right before games get started for the last day of the month. So these are star of the month is up for grabs. Caden Kendle and Marek Houston, teammates going head to head, battling it out for the July Star Scoreboard winner, hitter of the month. Ryan Gallagher has the pitcher wrapped up. Yep, he does, because Merritt Jones just pitched. He just pitched. So neither of those guys are going to move. Ryan Gallagher has taken the July Star Pitcher of the Month. And as you see there, competed for the top spot. So again, I alluded to some pitching having a better month this month and really starting this week out. Those two guys are a big part of that. So that is the top 10. So keep an eye out. That's the big thing. Forget about the trade deadline. Forget about Twins at Seattle if you're going to try to stay up for that one. Now, main event is this Wichita Wind Surge game where Caden Kendle and Marek Houston are battling out to be July Star of the Month. Well, thanks for watching this one. Check out Limestone Pipeline for more. That we did update our mid-season list there. So if you're hungry to see that before I release my personal update with the draftees and any kind of trade impacts, go check that out. Also, Jamie dropped some analysis in a podcast of the trade for AJ Minter there recently. So you could probably find that interesting. But thanks for checking this one out. We'll talk again soon.